Hi everyone, my name is Riley. Today I'm going to be running the inventory webinar. We'll be looking at the different ways to use Blueprint to track your inventory. I do have a colleague of mine, her name is Ellie. She's going to be on the chat. So if you have any questions as I'm moving through the topics, feel free to write those questions in the chat. Otherwise, we can address any questions that you have after I'm done presenting. So I think I'll wait just a couple more minutes to make sure that everyone that registered is able to join, and then we can jump right in. All right, so I think we have a fair amount of people in the group here. Just to recap, my name is Riley. I'll be doing the inventory webinar today. We're going to be discussing how we can use Blueprint to track your inventory. I will have my colleague Ellie on the chat, so if you have any questions as I'm moving through the different topics, feel free to just type those in the chat. Otherwise, we will have a time at the end for anyone to ask any questions. So I think we'll just go ahead and dive in now here. So I've got my Blueprint system open, and I have my inventory drop-down menu. So my inventory drop-down menu is going to be, it's going to kind of be your home base for your inventory. So if I go into my Manage Inventory, I'm going to see my different clinic locations on the left-hand side. I'm also going to see all of the items that are in these specific inventories. I can filter by the status of the item, and then I can also use my Quick Find search bar to search for the model name or the serial number. There are a handful of different privileges that need to be granted to users in order to maintain the inventory. We can find those by going into the Setup menu, under User Administration and Users. If I right-click on a user profile and go to Edit Privileges, we have an inventory section here. There's Adjust Stock, Delete Inventory, Manage Inventory, and Order and Receive Stock. In order for users to be able to perform actions within our inventory, we just want to make sure that they have access to these privileges. There are additional privileges that are needed to enter in a manufacturer bill, but we'll talk about this in a little bit here. So let's close out of our setup menu and take a look at our inventory module. On our inventory dropdown, we have Manage Inventory, which is what we're looking at right now. We also have Order Stock, Receive Stock, and Receive Stock with Bill, and then Add Stock. So Receive Stock and Receive Stock with Bill are a little bit different. If I didn't have the manufacturer invoice to enter in with those cost of goods, I would want to select Receive Stock. If I did have that manufacturer invoice, I would want to select Receive Stock with Bill after my stock order has been placed. That allows you to enter in the cost of goods, and if you're integrated with QuickBooks, that vendor bill will be transferred from Blueprint to QuickBooks. The Add Stock function, if I click on this here, I'm going to get a little, not an error message, but just a confirmation pop-up. The Add Stock feature is only if you have items that are currently in your inventory and you don't want any of this to be posted to your accounting system. So in this case, you know, if I had already had these items entered in my QuickBooks and I didn't want them to post, I could be sure to click on Add Stock rather than ordering and receiving my stock. All righty. So let's go into our Stock Orders tab. This is where you'll see all of your stock orders that have yet to be received into the clinic. If you wanted to place a stock order, there's a couple different ways to do that. My preferred method is going into Inventory, Manage Inventory. We would go into our Stock Orders tab, and then you can right-click into this gray space near the bottom, and you can select Order Stock. So that's the first way. The other way is just going into Inventory and then Order Stock. It's going to be the same screen, just two different places to do it. So let's say I'm going to order some stock hearing aids. I would want to go to the manufacturer dropdown and first select the manufacturer that I'm ordering from. So let's go ahead and order a Starkey. We'll do a Destiny 200 BTE. I would select OK, And now I have the option to set my quantity. So let's say I'm going to order 2 pairs of hearing aids. I'm going to set my quantity to 4. I can adjust my battery size, and then my cost is going to be how much I'm expecting to pay the manufacturer for each of these items. All of this information, the cost, is going to be held within our setup menu under Pricing and Ensure Coverage, Hearing Aids. If I filter to Starkey and I find those destinies, I'll see that my manufacturer price is listed at $5.99 and our patient price is listed there as well. You have full control over this. If you'd like to change those, you can do that here, or you can change them as you're ordering and delivering these items. So I'm going to leave my cost there. If I needed to enter in some color and notes, I could do that. So let's say maybe they're salmon. The note section, again, is just if you have any additional information that you want to document on this order. Now I'm going to go ahead and select Save. But before I do that, maybe I'm also going to order a couple chargers from Starkey. To add additional items to the stock order, all you want to do is just double-click into the model field underneath the item that is already listed there. So when I double-click on this space, I'm going to get my order stock item pop-up again. I can start typing on my keyboard. It looks like I don't have a charger for Starkey, but maybe I want to order, let's do this Evolve AI. I could order 2 of those. So basically, you can order as many items as you'd like on the order, just as long as it's specific to Starkey. If we were going to order some more items for your inventory from a different manufacturer, we would need to do that in a separate order. So we can see this cost is set at 0 right now. I'm going to leave that as is so that I can show you how we're able to adjust this afterwards as well. So once I click on Save, it's going to ask me if I would like to print a manufacturer order form. I'm going to select Yes. It's going to load for a minute. We'll see my purchase order form. I could print this out. I could save it to my computer, but this is just going to be that purchase order. So for now, I'm going to close out of my purchase order, close out of my setup menu, and now we can see that in my stock orders tab, I've got these items that are listed here. So now it comes time that the items have been delivered to the clinic. So I've got my package, and now I want to receive these into my inventory. So in order to do that, again, it's something that you can do in 2 separate spots, but I'll show you which one I prefer. I like to go to the Inventory dropdown, Manage Inventory, pop over to my Stock Orders tab, right-click on my stock order, and then Receive Stock or Receive Stock with Bill. So let's say right now I do not have a manufacturer bill. Maybe I can't find it, or they're going to send it later on. That's all right. I'm just going to receive stock. I'm going to want to make sure that I adjust my quantity received. So for these destinies, let's say I received all 4. I'm going to go ahead and change my quantity receiving to 4. And then for my Evolve AIs, I'm received 2, so I'm going to change that there. Now we can select Next, which will have us enter in the serial numbers for each of these hearing aids. So we'll just do some bogus serial numbers here. Just pretend. And again, I can change my battery. The return date is going to be the last possible date that you can return these items to the manufacturer. So if you need to adjust this, you're more than welcome to do so. Again, I can add in my colors. Let's just say these ones are going to be silver. Note section, once again, if you were to check off this Not for Resale button, that would mark these as demo hearing aids. So let's do that for our Evolve AIs. I'm going to go ahead and select Save. Now I'm going to see that my stock orders, or those items, are no longer in my Orders tab because they've been received into the clinic. So if I go into my inventory and I'm in my weather field, I can start taking a look for those items that I just added. So when I scroll down, I can see here are those 4 destinies, and I can see those Evolve AIs that are listed as demos. So let's say, for example, maybe a week went by and I did find that manufacturer bill and I want to go ahead and add that in. You can always do that after the fact by going to the accounting drop-down menu, enter bill. I'm going to select my manufacturer, so it was Starkey that we ordered from. And then I would want to go into my stock items tab, and I'm going to see all of those items that currently do not have a manufacturer bill associated with them. All I need to do is just select my items, drag them up here. Like so. It's a little finicky sometimes. There we are. I'm going to go ahead and select Save. The invoice number would just be whatever invoice number is listed on that manufacturer bill. Let's just say it's 123. I can go in and adjust my costs. Again, as mentioned, you can change the cost either when receiving or when you enter that bill. So I'm going to set these to $500 apiece. Expense items would be if, say for example, the manufacturer is charging you for shipping and handling, and that's a cost that the clinic is going to take care of rather than charging the patient. You can select your expense account. I've seen a lot of clinics that will have a special expense account just for shipping and handling. So if you have that, you can use that. If you would like us to add additional expense accounts, that's something that our technicians can do on the back end for you. We would just need a support ticket requesting the expense account and what you would like it to be called. So for this one, since I don't have a cost of goods sold shipping expense account, I'm just going to use miscellaneous. My description, you can leave that blank if you have an expense account that's specific to shipping, but since I don't, I just want to be sure that I know what this is for. And then my cost, I would just type in, let's say, $19.99. At this point, I can go ahead and select Save. So now I've entered in that manufacturer bill for all of these Starkey hearing aids. So if your system is integrated with QuickBooks, as mentioned, you can click on Receive Aids with Bill. You can change the cost if need be in QuickBooks. And then we'll see that it will send a bill to the vendor center in QuickBooks so that you know to pay that vendor. So now let's go ahead and take a look at a patient file. From our inventory, we can either sell stock items to a patient or we can loan them out. So let's pull up a patient file here. We'll do, let me find someone good. Let's see, I just wanted to pull someone up that didn't have anything on their file quite yet. Let's just go ahead here. We'll just use myself as the patient here. I do have a couple of hearing aids on file, but I'll be able to show you from this screen how we can loan out a hearing aid to a patient. So the first thing that we would want to do is open the patient file, Hearing Aids tab, and then you would want to select Add Aid. And we have the option to loan from stock. So I'm going to select that here. I'm going to find those Evolve AIs. Let's see, where are they? There we are. So I can just set the ear for each of these hearing aids. I would go ahead and select Add. We're going to get this pop-up that will have us enter in a recall date. So the recall date is the date that the patient is expected to return these items back to the clinic or purchase them. The only way to remove these recalls, as mentioned, is selling the items to the patient or returning them back to your inventory. So I'm going to go ahead and select OK. And now if I take a look, I can see that here are the two hearing aids that are on loan. I can generate a loaner agreement for this patient if I'd like to by right-clicking and selecting Loaner Agreement. This is our standard back-end loaner agreement, but you're more than welcome to make any modifications to the loaner agreement outside of Blueprint, say, for example, in Microsoft Word, and then you can re-upload the loaner agreement to, kind of appear the way that you'd like it to. So this is what mine looks like. We can have the patient sign. If I have a signature pad, I would select Sign Document, and the patient would be able to fill that out. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way, print it out, have the patient sign it, and then scan it into the Patient's Documents tab. So let's say a month went by, and the patient decided that they really like these hearing aids, and they want to purchase them. So all I would want to do is right-click and select Complete Sale. I'm going to get a little error when I try to do this because these are demo hearing aids, and I can't sell demo hearing aids. So in this situation, I could go into, I can right-click, select Edit Details, and then I would uncheck the Yes Demo. So I would say no, it's going to remove those as demos, as so. And at this point, now I can go ahead and complete the sale to the patient. So I would just enter in the prescriber and the fitter. I can change my warranty and L&D dates here. I'm going to select OK, which is now going to allow us to generate that invoice. I'm going to select Next. And then I didn't have a patient price set up for these hearing aids in my setup menu. So I'm just going to want to make sure that I go in and add those. So maybe I'm going to charge $1,500 per hearing aid. At this point, I can create a quote if I would like to show the patient what their estimate is. I can see that listed here. Let's close out of the quote. Now I would want to select Complete Sale. So once I do that, it'll load for a moment. And then I'm going to see that new invoice for the patient. If I were to have allocated any money to the patient's third party, an additional invoice would be generated that would show the allocation to that third party. From here, you would just go along and take payment as you normally would on any sort of other invoice in the system. Let's say that the patient comes back and says, I had these for a month and I thought I really liked them, so I bought them, but I'm not a big fan. So maybe they want to try something else, and I want to make sure that I return these items back into my inventory so that a different patient could purchase them or loan them in the future. So to do that, I would just need to right-click, and then I have either Return to Manufacturer or Return to Stock. I'm going to select Return to Stock. Just need to select my return reason. Let's just say no perceived benefit. I can zero out these return charges if I need to. We'll give the patient a clean break here. I'm going to return items. We'll see a credit memo. It's just a return credit being applied to the original sale. If I were to go back into my inventory, I would see those, let's see, they were the EVOLV. I would see these, and when I click on them, I can see a full history of everything that's happened with this item. So we can see that it was ordered, it was received into stock, it was loaned out to the patient. I can see who the patient was, and I also can see which user took these actions. And then I can also see that it's been returned to stock. So let's open our patient file again. The other option is just straight up selling these right away to the patient from your inventory. It's a pretty easy process. All you want to do is click on this green sale button in the left-hand side of the screen, and then I would select stock items here. When I do that, it's that same screen that we have seen previously where we can go ahead and add those items. So let's go back to those destinies. I'm going to sell a left and a right. I'm going to hit Save. Warranty and L&D can be entered there. Then I would select Next, and I could create a quote or I could complete the sale. So once I do that, I'll see that these items are now in the active status, and I can take payment as I would normally on the invoice. So let's close out of those for now. Let's go back into our inventory, manage inventory, and maybe I have these two Bernafon hearing aids that might have gotten damaged in the clinic, and I need to send these for repair to the manufacturer. It's the same situation as if you're on a patient file and you're sending an item for repair there. I would just want to right-click, select Send for Repair. It's going to tell me that my stock items are going to be moved, I can enter in any notes if needed. I would select OK. Now I have that create repair order for that item listed there. Again, you can do this, if the item is not reserved for a patient, you would want to be sending these for repair from within the inventory module. But if you had a stock item that the patient purchased, you can always go ahead and send it for repair or return it from their patient file as well. A couple other things that I wanted to point out before I forget is that when we are receiving items into our inventory, let's say for an example, this Phonak Ambra, and I right-click and I select Receive Stock. Let me just add in quantity receiving is 1. We have this handy little feature where you can scan the serial numbers instead of typing them in by hand. We do have a recommended barcode scanner. It is the Nadamu 433 MHZ wireless barcode scanner. I'm going to go ahead and add that into the chat here. Let's see. So I've just added that barcode scanner information into the chat if that's something that you're interested in. You can probably find them on Amazon or Best Buy, places like that. But just wanted to point that out so that I didn't forget. You would basically just click on the scan serial numbers. I'd have my scanner hooked up to my computer. I would just scan the barcode, and the serial number is going to auto-populate in that field for me. Beautiful. Let me just make sure that I don't have any other information that I wanted to go over. And then if I don't, then we can definitely jump into any questions that you may all have. Let's see. Oh, another thing is when we're in our inventory, let's say, for example, I have these 2 Bernafon hearing aids. I had received them into my Weatherfield location, but I meant to put them in my Manchester location. No worries at all. All I need to do is just select my item and drag it into Manchester. It's going to now tell me that 1 or more of the selected aids are in transition. The aids will not be moved, so I'm going to hit OK. Oh, I apologize. This one was sent for repair, so I got to use this one down here. So I'm going to drag it to Manchester. If I need to make any notes, I could do that. Select OK, and then I can see in the status section that it's been sent to Manchester. So all I need to do now is go into Manchester. I'm going to find that item. I can see it's arriving from Weatherfield. I just need to acknowledge that receipt by right-clicking, selecting Acknowledge Receipt. Now it's going to tell me that that item is in stock. The final thing that we'll take a look at are our inventory reports. So if you go to the Tools drop-down menu and you select Reports, I'm going to start typing Inventory in this section here. When I generate this report, it is going to show me my current inventory of hearing aids, whether they're in stock, in transit, loaned out, reserved, which would mean that it's received on a patient's file, sent for repair, or returned. Custom orders display on the report only if the database is configured to track custom orders as inventory. You can generate this as a PDF or an XLS spreadsheet. I can select that here. There are a couple different filters that you can change here. You can look at one specific location and you can exclude demos. I'm going to select OK just so that you can see a little snapshot of what it's going to look like. But I'll be able to see the patient names if they're loaned or reserved on a patient file. And then I can also see the value, which is how much I paid the manufacturer for these items. In addition, we have one other inventory report. It is a custom report, so if it is a report that would be beneficial to you at the clinic, all you would need to do is just send in a support ticket requesting this custom inventory report. It is called an inventory snapshot report. So the only difference between this report here and the snapshot is that with the snapshot, you can actually adjust the date. Say, for an example, I wanted to see what was in my inventory 6 months ago from today. You'd have an option to set date parameters there. So like I said, if this is something that would be beneficial for your system, just send us a support ticket and we'll have a technician grant that report to you. If you are looking in your report section and you're not seeing that inventory report, It might just be due to a lack of privileges. If I go into Setup, User Administration, and Users, I right-click on the user profile and I select Edit Reports, I will see all of those different reports. So maybe if you have a staff member that's looking for that and they can't find it, it's most likely just because they don't have privileges to view that report. But any admin or owner can give users this privilege, or the privilege to have this report. That is about all that I have today regarding inventory. I will open up the floor to any questions that may have come up during the session here. All right, well, if nobody has any questions, that will be the end of the webinar today. If you think of anything later on, feel free to send in a support ticket with any questions you may have via the Help drop-down menu, Create Support Ticket. You're also more than welcome to give us a call as well to our support line if you're needing more urgent assistance. I appreciate all you guys attending the webinar today, and I hope you all have a great weekend.